Hello everyone and welcome to episode 23 of Rapid Fire. I'm your host Wolvie and today I am joined by the creator of the Road 2 series, the Instagram TV series, Kerry. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm fine, thank you.
Good. So for first time or many time viewers of this show, as people will know or might not know, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put you through your paces with a 15-second rapid fire section. The quickest is still 53 seconds. That's pretty rapid. But the average time tends to be about 1 minute 10 seconds. A lot of people are on 1 minute 11 randomly. There's quite a few people on that now. So we'll do those 15 questions and then we're just going to go through and talk about you. You're going to be on the other side of the questioning for once.
I know it's very, very different this for me, but I'm very excited for it.
Good. So I'm just going to because you know we're high tech here. I'm just going to get the stopwatch up on my phone, and then we will get going. That is a calculator. Clock.
In 52. Type in 52. We'll go with that.
I'll just type a number in and just that'll be it. Right. So we've got the stopwatch ready to go. So if you're ready, we'll just crack straight into the challenge.
Yes, I'm ready.
Happy days. Right. Your time starts now. How many years have you been in the hobby?
3.
What game systems do you follow?
Warhammer 40k.
What are your current armies?
Chaos.
What was your first miniature?
A demonette.
What was your first full army?
Chaos, Thousand Sons and Death God.
What model or unit have you enjoyed painting the most?
Keep Your Secrets.
Enjoying painting the least?
Keep Your Secrets.
What was the last model you completed?
Shalaxi Hellbane.
How much hobby time do you get per week?
Maybe about 9 to 10 hours.
What is the current model you're working on?
It is Shalaxi Hellbane.
Your single favorite thing about the hobby?
Community.
Your least favorite thing about the hobby?
Rule changes.
Who or what got you into the hobby?
It was seeing somebody play a game in the chaos in the store.
What keeps you in the hobby?
And the community.
And what is your one hobby target for the rest of the year?
To complete in the tournaments that I'm about to do over the summer.
There you go. That's it. 15 questions done. Just as quick as that.
That was hard.
That was rapid. That was rapid. You're definitely going to be, I think, top 3.
Woo.
It's 1 minute and 2 seconds.
Oh, that was so close.
There was a point there where you were firing through, and I was like, she's going to do this. She's going to actually do this. But I think the who or what got you into the hobby, when you saw that question took about 5 seconds to answer, and then that was the point. But still, 1 minute 2 seconds is pretty rapid. So I'm got adrenaline off that. That was fab. you know what's really weird? A lot of people have really found that to be quite like they get themselves really pumped up for it, which I think I take as a compliment. I think.
Yeah, it's really good.
So on that point then about getting into the hobby and just seeing somebody play it in a store, tell us. What drew you to it? What did you see first? What made you go, oh, I want some of that?
Okay, so when I said I'd seen somebody play in the store, that's what made me want to play. So what had happened is I'd gone into the Metro Centre, which is in Gateshead, and I'd went past the store and looked in because I'd looked at the models prior to this. And I literally saw a guy who I'm happy to say is now one of my friends. And he was having like such an amazing time playing in store. And like I was like, I want this. I want to be having as much as fun as that guy is in the store. And after that, I was like, maybe I should learn the rules and maybe I should start to play with the models.
Yeah.
I previously had picked up a model before and probably only painted like a Space Marine or a couple of demonettes, and that was it. I wasn't really into the hobby or anything. I'd just seen them around.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until I'd went past the store and saw this guy having so much fun that I was like, I need to learn this game.
So were you drawn straight to the allure of chaos? Do you go straight for them?
Yeah, I did. I went straight to chaos because I was like, oh, these look like really cool models. They're quite fun. They're a bit quirky. I think I'm gonna enjoy painting them. And then I was like, I'll do the first set of demonettes was my first chaos thing that I painted, and I was like, oh, I really enjoyed that. Bearing in mind they were a bit fiddly. I'm not gonna lie, they were a bit fiddly.
Yeah.
And now I have 66 of them.
That's like me and my poxwalkers. I've got 100 and I think 107. I think there's a lot of them, and they're very fiddly, but
yeah, poxwalkers are good to play with though.
They are good. They are good fun because you could just throw. Well, I know they put their kind of limiter on them now, but you can just throw loads of them up the board, and they are pretty fun. And you know, most people are actually deathly afraid of them, which is quite funny because they don't actually do that much damage as such, but they are just in the way. And
isn't there a rule in that? I'm not sure if it still stands, but isn't there a rule where if you kill someone, you get to bring them back as a poxwalker?
yes. Yeah, so if for every enemy infantry unit, infantry model that's killed, you get a poxwalker. Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as you don't go above the squad like maximum size, but yeah.
Yeah. That's a good rule.
It's just brilliant because obviously they're supposed to be somewhat mindless zombies, and that just feels perfect that that's what would happen. You'd kill them and then you'd kind of come back as a zombie. So that's pretty cool. So I can see you've got a couple of Primarchs over your shoulder there. You've got what I will say is an absolutely wonderful Mortarion because he's purple and orange, which is one hell of a color scheme. Where did you come up with the purple and orange for him?
I bought a set of Chessex dice at EGX in 2019, and I was like, I love these dice. I'm going to try and bring some orange into my army just so I could play with the dice and them all fit in. And then now I've got bring them over. Now I've got Mortarion, who's like this crazy orange color.
I'm glad I'm not the only person who absolutely desires to match their dice with the color scheme that's in the army.
Yeah, I think I've gone a bit overboard though because I've dyed my hair orange as well. So
I mean, all this just to match some dice. I mean, that's how you know you're a true hobbyist.
Yeah.
And also, you've got Magnus there. Did Magnus do anything wrong, or is he a dick?
No, Magnus did nothing wrong.
You would say that. You've got him there on the shelf as somebody nicknamed Wolvie and having a Space Wolves past. I will tell you, he did everything wrong. And agree with Dan Abnett that he is a dick.
I've even painted this little dread arm on the bottom of his base in Space Wolves grey as well, just so you can.
I mean, there was no other way that you could have painted it. I've seen from your Instagram that you are clearly getting somewhat excited about the Thousand Suns side of the thing. What sort of thing are you looking to see in the Thousand Suns Codex?
Oh my goodness, I would love to see Magnus become the mighty Magnus that I feel he once was, that he might not necessarily be as mighty as he used to be anymore. I used to run Smash Bros.
Yeah, I think with the way they did Mortarion and the way they're clearly giving each army the big bad, the big boss, if you will, I think Magnus is probably going to come same as Mortarion with 3 warlord traits and switch off abilities and some sort of mega psychic thing, because nothing else would make sense, right?
Yeah, I think I can totally see them doing that. The only problem with that is, for me, is I run like a soup mix army. So I used to run Smash Bros, so Mortarion and Magnus, and they used to do this really cool rule where I could warp time either. I could cast warp time on Magnus on Mortarion, and I could warp time him up the board so you could move his movement again, and you could get a first turn charge on it. That I don't think that's even a thing anymore. I don't think that's possible anymore. I think the new rule changes are going to make it so it's only good if you run a full Death Guard army or a full Thousand Suns army, and I guess it is to eliminate people from doing the first turn charges.
Yeah, I think one of the bugbears that I have with that in terms of chaos, and I don't know if you do as well, is that at the moment, if I was to run my Death Guard with my Nurgle, I would suffer as a result, when that doesn't make any sense, because Death Guard and Nurgle is one, same as, you know, the Thousand Suns and the other Tzeentch demons. So do you see that potentially changing with the Demons Codex, or?
I don't know, to be honest with you, but I'm very excited to see what they do come up with. Despite saying that rule changes were my least favorite thing.
Yeah, so what is it about rule changes that you don't, is it the fact that they do these new additions and change the rules, or is it just when they FAQ stuff?
Okay, so I'll just put it out there that I totally understand why they do the rule changes. It's to keep things more balanced and to keep things entertaining and get people to play different strategies and stuff. However, I find it quite difficult to learn rules sometimes. So I'm one of these people who I like to play one army and play it till I know it within an inch of its life.
Yep.
And then move on to something else potentially. I find that the rule changes, for example, chapter approves just come out, and I feel like it's just been a hot 5 minutes since the last ones came out. So we've only just managed to learn the rules from that one. And now I'm like, no, what are you doing to me? More rule changes.
Yeah, and I do understand, obviously, Games Workshop trying to make sure things are continually balanced. But points changes. I've never known so many points changes as there is in this edition. You know, we are now, I think this is points change number 7 that they've just done with the new chapter approved. And that's a lot. That's a lot of, like, you just get used to a list. And then, even though we've not necessarily been able to play lists much because of lockdown and stuff like that, but you just get used to a list, and then all of a sudden all the points changes, which means then you've either got to change stuff in your army because you've either got to add or take away stuff depending on what those points changes do. And that has got to be quite frustrating for people who have managed to play more games anyway.
Yeah, I think you're right there. I think that's my one bugbear, is that I managed to nail my rules and then it all changes and I have to learn it again.
Yeah, I think that's frustrating for all of us, really, especially when, you know, sometimes, you know, if you look at, say, AdMech, for example, they got one of the last codexes and now they've just been done again. And you just kind of think it's not really been that long. Most AdMech players have probably only managed to use that codex a handful of times because of the situation we've been in, learning all these rules, and then they've got to forget them and onto the new rule set. So
yeah, I completely agree.
So it's a bit tricky. So looking at it from behind you, and looking at, again, pictures you posted on Instagram recently, how do you keep such a clean and organized workspace? Because the camera is up there, but if you could see this is just a mess. So how do you do it?
I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't know. I've got this thing, like I kind of like things to be neat and tidy and decluttered, because I find it quite relaxing when I'm not in a mess, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
However, I'm not afraid to make a mess either. So if I do make a mess, which I do, I just kind of tidy it up afterwards and put it in a little box and then take it out again when I need it.
Yeah, I mean, I've got all the storage space in the world, but for some reason, just on the desktop here, I never seem to have enough space. I've got various lights, I've got a fan, I've got, I don't know, a brush holder with I don't know how many brush, like there's just crap. It's just, well, it's not crap, but it's just there. And I'm like, I need everything to hand, because just, yeah, it frustrates me otherwise. But you seem to manage to keep a very clean workspace. Anytime I have seen pictures of it, it's just a very clean, and I'm jealous. I'm just
The key is just to not get too much out. But the other key is what you see here is nice and clean and tidy. But if you open one of them boxes, it's just an absolute tip.
Yeah, like if, like I said, I have this problem. I've got a nice set of drawers here, and you could just literally just pick out just like And there's no rhyme or reason for it. It's just thrown in the best possible way. And I'm glad you're a little bit like that, and because that makes me feel a bit better. Your cupboards aren't also like labeled and neatly done.
Oh no, I haven't got that far. I like to be quite organized. I do like being organized, but I'm not that organized. I'd love to be that organized. I just don't have the time to be that organized.
I don't think many of us does. You can either organize everything or you can paint something, and 9 times out of 10, painting is going to win something. Although I will say there is something when you clean up your desk space and you look at it and you go, that's nice, and then you get your first model out and you start working on it, and then you're like, this is brilliant. This feels really great. I'm going to keep my desk like this all the time. And then
I know this is going to sound really cliche, but I can't remember where I heard it. It's probably one of them normal sayings that you hear all of the time, so loads of people use it. But when people say, oh, a tidy house or a tidy room is a tidy mind, I completely believe it, because I don't know what it is. I seem to feel a lot more relaxed when I'm around things that are neat and tidy, or I've got a lot of light coming in.
Yeah.
So I really love having like natural light, which is why I've got one of my desks in front of the window, because it makes me feel better. Despite the fact that I wear black clothes, like my wardrobe is just like black and white and a few bits here and there.
You like colour everywhere else, just not in clothing.
Yeah.
That's fair enough. And obviously, like, I've got a lot of natural light coming through there, which is why no sort of artificial lighting works here. And sometimes I can sit here and look really washed out. Thankfully, because the sun's out, I've got a little bit of a tan now, so I don't just sit here looking really pale. But usually the light that's out there it just casts me into a ghost. So we're going to move on to the subject of one of the things that's led you to a bit more of a prominence within the community, and that is the Road to series. How many episodes are you in now?
The next episode, which is on tomorrow night, is going to be episode 13.
So you see the same as us. Obviously, we're on 23. You're cracking through them. So where did the idea come from? What made you sit there and go, I'm gonna start making videos for people?
I think if I go back to where it started last year, when I did my first interview live on Instagram, was part of the Lady Hammer event where Kirsty interviewed me, and I had a great time. And I was like, this was so much fun. I'd love to do more of them. And then that idea just kind of just stayed around for a little bit. And I think it was coming up to International Women's Day this year, and I was asked to be featured in a magazine. And it got to International Women's Day, and I was like, oh, this really cool thing is going to happen. And I was like, oh, it didn't happen, and it didn't get featured. And I sat there and I was like, well, that's cool, because there's going to be opportunities that come up like that, and you're going to get knockbacks. You're going to have things that are going to be like that, and that's totally fine. I understand it. I was never expecting to be a big painter or recognized for my artwork that much, because I'm quite new to the hobby. And I sat there and I just went, why am I waiting for somebody to come and interview me? Why don't I go and interview other people too, and get myself involved with other people? And I was like, okay, so that's the first thought. What am I going to do it on? Because I don't just want to talk about me for the whole episode, like the whole series. Despite having an array of hobbies, I think I would run out by episode 4 or 5.
Yeah.
So that's when I was like, oh, well, why don't I talk to other people who also have a lot of different hobbies? Because I think you'll find that within the Warhammer community, there are people who paint Warhammer, but I think we've all got a lot more in common than we first think. There's a lot of people who I've met through the show who enjoy skating, who enjoy going for walks, hiking, camping, people who are doing multiple challenges, and people who are just generally happy to talk and be on the journey with us. So that's really cool. So that's where it came from.
Yeah, and there's a friend of mine, a friend of the Loaded Bolter group, who said to me, was talking to me about you, and said, oh, I followed her for the skating and then realized she did Warhammer, and that was really cool. So I think you popped up on the feed. I don't know if you hashtagged the right thing or whatever. I think you popped up on the feed for a skating purpose. So he was like, oh, I'll follow, because he loves skating as well. And like you said, there's sometimes more that bind us than just Warhammer. Warhammer's great, because I think I've discussed it with a few people now. You can have a conversation about this hobby with any person in it. You've always got something to talk about. But sometimes we do limit ourselves to talking about just this hobby, because it's such an easy thing that we all know something about. Whatever part of the hobby interests us, we know. So it's good that in the shows that you do, you are talking about the hobby element, but also bringing in some of the other things as well, whatever that may be, whether it be, you know, weaving things, skating things, whatever it might be. You bring those elements in. I think that's really quite cool.
Thank you. And firstly, like, that's really, really cool to hear that your friend came across from a different hobby as well. So that's great. And it's nice to see that people are being able to relate to people who come on the show, and it's opening up avenues for other people to maybe start conversations that are also about other things, not just about Warhammer. Not that there's anything wrong with that either, because Warhammer's been, and we're all here because we enjoy it, right?
Of course.
But yeah, it is cool. I think it's nice to find out other avenues that people are interested in.
Yeah, I think that's always good. So with that, who are some of the dream guests that, if you could like write a list of, say, 3 people, 3 or 4, 5 people, whatever you've got in mind, that you think, do you know what, if I could get them on, that would be awesome.
Oh my God.
Who would they be?
Okay, well, firstly, I kind of have to say that I feel like I've achieved some of that already with the guests that I've had on so far on the first series, because every single person who's been on in the first series have been incredible. So just a quick shout out to everybody who's been on already.
Yeah.
We have had so many cool people on who were on that list that I didn't even believe that people were saying yes to me to begin with. So that was amazing. We had the likes of Steve from Tabletop Tactics on. I've had Sam Lenz on. I've had James from MJG Painting on. Kirsty came on. My Rose. Honestly, the list goes on. They're all amazing. For the second series, there is a number of really cool people coming on. So I'm very excited for that, but I'm going to keep my mouth
you do better than us, because we've I mean, by the point that this comes out, his will have come out, so that's fine. But we're shouting from the rooftop that we've had Winter's SEO. I mean, we started advertising that from the point that because that is awesome. You know, he was one of our dream guys, and we're a bit like you in that. I've managed to interview some awesome people that I've won. Some of the same people, Maya Rose being one of them. But yeah, just you're almost like ticking off a little list, because you just do that thing where you go, they'll never say yes, but I'll ask anyways. And then when they come back and go, yeah, that's a really cool idea, you're like, oh shit, I've now got to do this. Like, this is going to be awesome.
Yeah, I think it goes. I think there's a couple of people as well. It goes without saying, Darren Latham would be an absolute dream to interview. Duncan Rhodes obviously would be incredible. The list goes on, but we do have a really cool, well, I say we've got a really cool lineup for the second series coming. So yeah, that'll be announced fairly soon. And
that's awesome. I mean, we don't really have a series thing going on. I've just started filming these and I just keep going. So I don't know if there'll be a series 1, series 2 or what. I just people want to film, I film. It just sort of happens. But you seem to have a little bit more organization on it than we do. So on other things that you've been part of, then obviously Lady Hammer was cool with the things that you girls were doing for that. I mean, I saw a few bits and pieces when that was happening and how that came about. So that was really cool. But one of the things you are participating at the moment is Team Warhammer 100. Now, I've seen the amount that it sits at on this. We're filming this 9th of June. The amount that it sits at is £3,810. that's without the gift aid, which I think is another 700 and something pounds on top. So that's £4+ grand, which is absolutely insane. For people who don't know what Team Warhammer 100 is, tell us about it.
Okay, dokie. I'm so glad you brought this up. So on the road to, I interviewed a guy who happens to be my cousin. Keeping it in the family. I spoke to Andy Watson about his Team 100 challenge, and he is cycling for 100 consecutive hours for cancer research. So that works out at about 4 days, and he is training like a madman to raise enough money for cancer research. So he came up with Team 100, and it's basically, it started off with what can you do in 100 hours, or what can you do with that 100 in. And I was thinking, right, I've done this interview with Andy. It's a course that's very close to both our hearts at the minute, and many people out there. It's a very, very worthy cause that affects a lot of people. And I was thinking, well, I'm going to have to commit to doing my own challenge now. I wasn't asked to. I just wanted to. I wanted to make sure that I felt like I was doing something to help.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, well, I'm probably going to have a think about this and see what I can do, and whether 100 hours would be. I don't think I'd be able to sustain painting for 100 hours. So what I decided to do was to say I will paint 100 models within 24 hours, because I'm sure I'll be able to somehow stay awake for 24 hours. And why not do some Warhammer along the way and try and raise some money? So that's where Team Warhammer 100 came from. So I said to a couple of friends, I was like, I've got this idea. I'm going to do the challenge where I'm going to paint 100 models in 24 hours. And it kind of just blossomed and has just turned into something quite big at the minute, which I'm really proud of. I'm overwhelmed with the amount of people who've come to me and went, oh, I want to do that too. Can I join you? And I was like, well, why not? Like, the more the merrier.
Yeah, of course.
I understand that painting 100 models in 24 hours isn't necessarily something that's achievable for everybody, with people having like family commitments or work.
Of course.
But there's a lot of different ways that people can get involved and are getting involved.
Yeah.
So there are other ways of getting involved. So I'm going to be painting my 100 models in 24 hours live on stream, and the lovely guys at Miniature Frontier have come up and said, look, we'd love to stream it live for you, we'd love to get involved. So they get involved, and a few of the team are going to be painting alongside me to kind of keep me motivated, make sure I'm entertained, make sure you guys are entertained,
of course,
make sure I'm staying awake.
Because you could be the most interesting person in the world, but somebody staring at you for 100, that's a lot of hours, isn't it? Like, you need something to help break that up.
Yeah, so the guys at Miniature Frontier are going to stream it. We have had an array of guests say that they want to come on during the stream to come and show their support, help motivate, and chat about hobby and different things that are going on. So there's guests joining the stream, there's me painting on the stream, there's going to be other people also taking part in the challenge on the stream throughout the 24 hours. There's going to be some giveaways that we're going to be doing during the stream, so that'll be fun. So that's one way that people have got involved so far. Another way that people have got involved so far, so the 100 models that I personally am going to be painting are all donated from people. So everything that I get is something that somebody's donated, and I'm going to paint them, and then at the end I'm going to auction everything off that I've painted for cancer research.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I think I wanted to do something quite community focused.
Yeah.
And have a little bit of everybody involved in it in some way. And that just felt like the right way to do it. And it also means that it's got a little bit of a personal touch from everybody who's helped along the way. and then I'm somehow going to paint them and sell them for cancer research.
Yeah, I think that's really awesome. There are a lot of people who are starting to find ways to use the hobby for charitable ends, and I think that's really admirable. I was talking, one of the early episodes was with a guy called Big Mike, based in America, and he has raised over $13,500 for charities, including his wife who's got breast cancer, and there was a child with cancer and various things like that. And he just uses the hobby and Twitch and stuff like that to raise an obscene amounts of money. And it's probably been a few months since we did an interview, so I dare say that $13,500 figure is probably way up now, because he does a similar thing. He does these streams, to paint the models, and then he sells them and obviously gives the money to charity as well, which I think is really cool. And obviously it doesn't cost him anything, because like you say, a lot of the models are donated models. So he's not putting just a bunch of his own stuff into it and getting nothing back as such. He's, just this amazing outlet. And I think that's really cool that you're also doing something like that.
Yeah, I think it's great, and it's really nice to hear that he's been able to raise so much money for it, and I do hope it's going really well. It'd be really interesting. I'll go check him out after this as well and have a look and see what he's doing. In terms of the models that people are donating, I just felt like I wanted everybody to feel like they had a part to play in this, and I didn't want it all to just be centered around me chipping away at my models and then selling them that way. I wanted it to be something that everybody can get involved with and feel like they've done something at the end of it.
So have you got the 100 models lined up, ready to go?
I haven't got all 100 models lined up just yet.
Okay.
But I have to say there have been some incredible people come and message me and say that they are going to send me some stuff and it's on the way. So if anybody does want to donate any models, drop me a DM. If you want to get involved in any way, if you would like to come on as a guest on the show just to keep us all motivated.
Yeah.
If you would like to just help share the message across social media, send me a DM or just shout about us. It's so much appreciated that way. That would be great.
I'm very confident that you'll get a good following and hopefully help raise the desired amount to to help the charity out, because it's a good cause. You'll have fun doing it. It gives you something to kind of it's one of those, I wouldn't say once in a lifetime things, because you could do it, but it's one of those real things that can make you feel like you're making a difference using something that you love, which not a lot of people can necessarily do. So that's really cool.
Thank you very much. What I will do, because I know this will be going out a little bit soon, like a little bit later, sorry. So we'll probably have something on Instagram by then. I just want to say a huge shout out to Quipster Nerd. I'd like to shout out
Love that guy.
I'd like to shout out to Maya Rose. I'd like to shout out I'd like to shout out to Demon Painting. I would like to do a little shout out to Ginger of Chaos, who is my partner, who puts up with me through absolutely everything I do and fully backs everything I do. So thank you so much for your support. And again, everybody at Miniature Frontier as well, for obviously who's going to stream it. So yeah, I can't not do this and shout out to everybody who's getting involved.
That's absolutely fair. You've come on, you use the time how you can, and that's the important bit. So moving on from that then into what are your plans? Not just, obviously you've got the Road to Series 2. You've got that. You've obviously got the 100 Team 100 challenge coming up. What are some of your other plans over the next 12 months that you want to enact? Obviously, you mentioned earlier about playing in some of these tournaments. What else is there for you to conquer and achieve?
Oh my god, that's what I love doing, and that's what makes me tick, is a challenge. So I'm going to be playing in a tournament at a place called Battle Bunker in Sunderland. That is going to be my first tournament of the year. I'm going to be going to Liverpool and playing an ITC tournament in July. So I'm very excited to go to Crit Hit for that one.
Yep.
I would like to go to London later on in the year if if I can, if there's a tournament coming up, and play there and meet all the guys that I've met over the last year online and kind of play some games with everyone. I am up north, so I have a few places that I like going to, but I do like to venture out. I I don't know if you've seen on my Instagram, outside of doing like hobby and Warhammer, I really enjoy walking, and I got a list of all the Wainwright fells in the Lake District, and I've made it my challenge to tick every single one of them off. So
Okay.
I'm currently trying to make my way through that. That's probably gonna be over probably about 5 years, never mind 12 months. But yeah, that's on my list. You generally meet more people in person.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that I've wanted to do with obviously the creation of what I'm doing. Is it's about, obviously I can't necessarily go out and play as many people at this point, although I will say by the time this goes out I will have played him, but I'm going to play Quipster soon down in London.
Nice.
I'm only kind of about an hour and a half's car journey away from London, so I can drive to the outer skirts of London and just tube my way through it. So I'm quite excited for that, because I've not played anybody outside my gaming group in the last 2 years. I don't think 2.5 years. So
Wow.
it's, you know, because you sort of get used to people's methods, the way they play. So this is going to be completely something out of that zone, playing somebody I've never played before. So that's something to look forward to.
He's got a really cool custodies list, hasn't he?
Yeah, and I'm unbeaten against custodies. I've never lost to them. So this is a big thing. This is I'm putting that record on the line if he brings his custodies.
I lost to custodies at the weekend, but we'll not talk about that.
It's the one thing I do like talking about, because Jack, who's in our group, has got custodies, and so far I've beaten him when I've played him. So hopefully when somebody else is in charge of them, I'll still have the same outcome. But we don't know. I don't know what army I'm using against them yet. I'm overthinking it now. I'm overthinking it because it's somebody else. I'm overthinking, like, do I take the Death Guard, or do I take, I don't know. He seems to know how to play Death Guard, because I know that Adam in his group's got Death Guard. So I think I might try and take something else and shock him, but we will see.
If you video this, I will watch.
Well, I will see. I will see what sort of setup we could do, because we're playing at the Bad Moon Calf. I've never been, so I wanted to go. So if we can get some kind of setup, I think that would be pretty cool. I'd have to speak to him about it.
I think it's a really good place, actually, the Bad Moon Calf.
And I've heard great things about it. So when he was talking about it, I was like, do you know what? I'll happily come down to London to see it if you fancy a game. And we've managed to get it sorted out for I think it's about a week or so from now, 2 weeks from now. Where are we? Yeah, roughly that. So yeah, so it should be good fun. It should be good fun, apart from having to drive into London, but I'll wear that. I'll take it. So one of the last question I ask all of my guests on here, obviously we touched on it a little bit earlier, and obviously skating is one of yours, walking is another one. Hobbies away from the hobby. Obviously there are other things in this world that keep us sane. What are yours? What is it about skating? What is it about walking? Talk to me about some of the other hobbies you've got.
Okay, I think I just like a challenge in general, something that I can push myself to do, to develop myself, to just generally keep my brain occupied, because I'm a thinker. I think, like, I'm constantly thinking, I'm constantly organizing things, I'm always looking for things to do. So I like the walking, because I basically love a list. Anything I can write a list about. It's so sad, isn't it?
You're talking to the guy with a book of lists, like
you are on my wavelength.
And then there's a whiteboard here, lists.
Love this. See, we've got more in common than we think.
Of course, lists.
Yeah. Okay. So I like a list. I like a challenge. I enjoy going out I like walking. I like being out in the wilderness, shall we say, rural walks, climbing mountains, just something to keep me occupied. Skating, I love. I've always enjoyed watching people skate when I was a young age. I was one of those teenagers who you'd see probably around the skate park and stuff, but I was always too nervous to try when I was younger, because I was always friends with very male heavy groups, because they were into like extreme sports or into things that were quirky and were very male dominant, and I always enjoyed watching the sports. And now I'm a bit older, I'm like, I really don't care whether I'm I really don't care anymore.
Well, I mean, confession session, I was that kid because I enjoyed the metal music or the guitar based music, but I was never any good at skating. But I was that kid that had a backpack with the skateboard in, and I scuffed it up on a curb. This was in my teens. It wasn't like last week, but just to make it look like I could skate. But I never skated a stitch. I just like to hang around skate parks and watch people skate and be part of that culture. But yeah, I was never a skater. I was a fake skater.
You heard it here, guys. You heard it here, guys. It's on video now.
Yeah, I know. I don't think I've ever confessed that one before.
Well, we're both confessing. We're both like a list, and we both are rubbish at skating when we were younger. But now we don't care. Now we're going to try. That's what it's all about.
Maybe I'll actually step on a skateboard now and see what I can do at the grand old age of 32. I'll probably break a bone, which is the terrifying thought.
I don't get a picture. I need a picture of it.
I have to find a skateboard. I'm sure I can rob one off some kid around here. I'm sure I can just ask if I can borrow it. I'm sure they'll let me.
Yeah, so it was one of them where I was just like, as I've got older, I'm doing the things that I probably wanted to do a lot more when I was younger, and I just was maybe a bit too nervous or a bit too shy to do it. And now I'm just totally embracing everything that I want to do, and that's probably why you're seeing a lot more of me on the internet and being a bit more outspoken. It's because I think I'm happy with who I am, and I'm happy with the hobbies that I do, so I'm quite happy to share it with people, and if people like it, then that's cool too.
And I think that's probably the best thing that can possibly happen to a person. If you can become totally contented with the things that you're doing, with the hobbies that you've got, and if you are in a position where you want to and can share them, and especially if you are lucky enough that you can take the attitude, if you like it, this is awesome. If you don't like it, like, I know that's not necessarily always easy, but it's good that you're in a place where you're able to just put yourself and your hobbies out there, and you're comfortable with with whatever comes of that.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, if you're not happy with sharing things, that's cool too. Like, it's not for everybody. It's also a case of, I'm not saying that I'm fully content with who I am and everything I do, because I'm always trying to improve what I do. And for me, that's what makes me tick. And I thought, well, why not document it and enjoy it and share it?
And that's what it's all about. That's what I do. I document other people's stuff mainly. I don't document my own, but it still gives me more pleasure to do that. I don't necessarily know what I'd do if somebody turned around and put the spotlight on me. I probably wouldn't like it so much, but that's just me.
You say that, I know somebody who does like an interview series, and she's always looking for guests to come on.
I wouldn't even know what to do. Like, you'd be asking me questions, and I'd be sat here like, I asked the questions.
Yeah, it's weird. It's strange. The tables have turned, but actually, I quite enjoy it. But yeah, give me a shout if you want to come on the road too.
I'm always happy to give something a go. So there you go. Consider that an acceptance.
Excellent.
There we go. And on that bombshell, all that's left for me to do is to thank you for joining me. Congratulate you for making, I've not looked at the table today, what I think is going to be the top 3, definitely the top 5. So that's something out of 23. That's good going. And yeah, thank you very much.
No problem. Well, thank you very much for having me on and chatting. It's been lovely. It's been it's been a change. I'm normally on the other side, like you say.
Well, apparently at some point I'm going to be on the other side, so that's terrifying. And obviously, if you out there want to go and check out what Kerry is doing in terms of the Team Warhammer 100 or whatever challenge she's setting herself next, all of her details will be available underneath her name, where you'll be able to find her Instagram. And there's a link tree on there, which has got all kinds of sites and bits and pieces. So go and follow her. You probably are. You're probably just here watching her, and I'm just here for the ride. But it's a pleasure anyways.
Oh, thank you so much for having me on.
No,
Thanks,
thank you.